Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe Kunzler here, testifying con against this horrible bill. Clearly, when I stand with the hawks of gun violence and Supervisor Catherine Stephanie from, let's just say, San Francisco, and who I give dozens of roses to because she actually does stand up to gun violence. She took 150 guns off the streets of San Francisco. She's constantly proposed gun responsibility legislation, and she's always demanding more moral toughness on this issue. And one of the reasons why I feel this way is because I personally am a gun violence survivor, and I had to see my mother be attacked by an Irishman, and he was a pretty big guy, and I had to fight him in hand-to-hand combat. And I don't like talking about this because I don't want to brag. I did what any other son should do. But now we're having a conversation about, on one hand, increasing restrictions on gun ownership, which I generally support, especially the assault weapons ban. And then we're going to loosen the sentencing enhancements for firearms crimes? No, no way. This is theater of the absurd. That we're having this conversation about saying if you commit a crime with a gun, we're going to make life easier for you at sentencing just because. Now, if that person goes through, accepts their sentence, makes a sincere apology, and then goes through rehabilitation successfully, I am all for conversation about early release at that point, but only after rehabilitation and real accountability for gun crimes, because the trauma is lifelong, and it would make me want to change my political party from Democrat if this conversation continues. So there you go. Sorry I'm so harsh, but I'm reliving a lot of trauma. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, Joe, I just want to engage a little colloquy with you. The idea here is not to reduce punishment for gun crimes where particularly where those have been harmed, but there have been a number of cases that the prosecutors brought up to us where because of the inability for courts to order the weapons enhancements concurrently and having to stack them consecutively just because of the way the law is written, a number of individuals have been confined to prison for decades for conduct where no one was harmed. And the courts would have liked to unstack those enhancements and order perhaps just one where there was a gun involved and yet no one was physically harmed, but they couldn't. So the idea here is to provide the judge's discretion in those cases where the sentence would be clearly excessive in relation to the conduct. And in other cases,
what conduct are we talking about here?
Brandishing a weapon in front of people, but not physically harming them. For instance, brandishing a weapon in front of 5 people, that's 5 victims, so that's 25 years, and so forth. So the idea is to provide discretion based on the circumstances of the case.
Okay, here's the problem. I went through, the crime I went through was a home break-in where the weapons were brandished and was attempted to cower us in our house to let them duct tape us and steal from us, and we had to fight back. And it's saying to people who fight back that you're not going to get that consecutive sentence. So I'm sorry, I cannot support this bill. We need to send these animals away for life and enjoy it, because using a gun should be the last option. And we need to send a message that when you own a gun, you are responsible for, and that's why I don't have a concealed carry permit, because if I pull out my weapon, that's a felony. I don't want my parents seeing me in an orange jumpsuit. So it's a deterrence factor. I hope I answered your question politely, sir.
No, thank you. I appreciate your response. And thank you very much for your testimony.
Yeah.
Okay, let's